one of America's oldest harbors. Usually, the only water you see boiling around here is used to prepare the sumptuous seafood that this area is famous for. But today, the water will boil from another, more powerful source, APBA Offshore Racing. Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, and this, the fourth race in the APBA Baja Offshore Series. Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Crippen, and welcome to beautiful Baltimore and its inner harbor, where today these concrete seawalls and these historic wharfs will try to contain one of powerboat racing's great spectacles, the offshore powerboats. These boats capable of speeds upwards over 150 miles per hour in some cases. As we say, this is the fourth race of the season. Already we've had every kind of weather condition. We've had every kind of water condition. We have had records broken. Generally, it has whetted our appetite. If you know Baltimore at all, then certainly you know that it's known for its great crab cakes and its great seafood. Great recipes, if you will. But today the recipes are being prepared for great racing. It's going to happen on the water here at the inner harbor. Rich Lures has been down in the pit area. They're getting them ready?
Oh, the water's boiling, Dick. As a matter of fact, the Alcone team has steamed to 2 victories so far this year. And the Drambuie team, well, they sauteed the rough water at Corpus Christi for a victory down there. Some other chefs are aiming to stir the pot as well. Carl Myers will attempt to add some sugar to the broth, as how sweet it is has shown as much speed as anyone. The big story in the kitchen this race has to be Reggie Fountain, who's having a weekend that would sour anyone's stomach. After a fire in his B-boat destroyed the boat yesterday, his open boat is missing from the mix today. That open boat was scheduled to debut Mercury's brand new Oldsmobile-based racing engines at this race. Because of the problems with the boat, Reggie turned the engines over to WHM Motorsports, and that hull today will be housing those new and powerful engines.
In fairness to Mercury, with what they'd done on their engines, and I kind of made a mistake in what I'd done without time to correct it. It was the only thing to do. I didn't feel good about, you know, going on a debut with their engines when I didn't have my boat just right.
The reaction of Reggie Fountain, and kind of a class act, I must say. Well, as far as the weather is concerned, we have got some interesting conditions to look at. It is on the warm side in Baltimore at 83 degrees. Light chop out there. Winds are northeast 5 to 10 knots under partly cloudy skies. It is an interesting course they will be running in Baltimore. Let's take a look at our Gaffrick Precision Instruments course map, and you can see the Francis Scott Key Bridge right in the center. They will be going under that bridge twice each lap. It'll be 4 turns for each lap and 9 miles. As the boats took to the water for the very first time, the Archbishop of Baltimore offered a blessing.
Lord, bless this boat and keep them safe.
That's this one right here, 36.
It's racing dead ahead with some of the world's most powerful powerboats assembled in the inner harbor of Baltimore. The American Powerboat Association's Baja Offshore Series is brought to you by Baja Marine, the #1 manufacturer of high-performance boats in the world. Baja, speed changes you. And by Citgo Superguard Motor Oil, the official motor oil of the American Powerboat Association. Citgo, when it counts. The inner harbor of Baltimore, Maryland, the Chesapeake Challenge, APBA Baja Offshore Racing Series. Dick Crippen along with Rich Lures as we look down from the Caterpillar Marine Power aerial camera. And Rich, great racing happened yesterday.
Dick, the racing in Baltimore's inner harbor yesterday featured the offshore B class with a world-class lineup, as well as offshore A, and these smaller V-bottom boats really like the tight confines here in the harbor.
The big story, of course, was the focus on Reggie Fountain. Now, we didn't know it going into the race, but let's let it develop and let the fans at home see exactly what happened to Reggie. Look at him on the start.
A combined A and B fleet. As we said, high-speed boats. These boats maneuver very well around turns. This course featured a lot of turning, a lot of tight confines, and they really like the water conditions. Just perfect. A nice little chop, just right for these V-bottom hulls.
You see great competition. You see Ale House closest to you. The next boat inside on the course is the white boat, 76. That is Reggie Fountain.
The B race developed as expected as a very tight race. All of these boats are capable of speeds of about 110 plus miles an hour. The first lap was dominated by Citgo Superguard, but the story's right here in third place. B76 Fountain, Reggie Fountain and his son Wyatt going for a very significant milestone. If Reggie Fountain wins this race, it's his 100th powerboat race victory.
That is a tremendous milestone in this sport, no question about it. But right now, he's got a challenge out there because he is sitting in third. First place is the Citgo Superguard boat. Jay Johnson, Nigel Hook, and Brad Kaplan. And that boat has had a tremendous year with several wins so far. It's been a dominant boat, but look at that. On the outside, Dramamine is coming up. Dramamine has done this typically in several races so far this year.
Yeah, this has been a hard luck year for Dramamine. They've been able to show the speed, get the lead, but they have not been able to finish. And as you know, in order to win, you've got to finish. Citgo Superguard never let Dramamine out of their sights, but meanwhile, over the shoulders of these two, the Fountain boat was roaring along. Basically the fastest boat out there. Reggie Fountain was biding his time because he was looking for that 100th win. He had a strategy, he stuck to it.
And look what happened in front of him. Superguard goes right past the Dramamine boat. Once again, trouble for Dramamine.
So frustrating for that Dramamine team, but the Superguard team, they are the national points leader, and they didn't get in that position by not being prepared for these events. Fountain, in the meantime, Reggie and Wyatt, they were trying for that 100th win. Now, Reggie Fountain's 100th win, what does it mean? The amazing thing about this is, and I've raced against this man, he's won races in tunnel boats, in offshore races, every different kind of marine propulsion system this man has raced in and won. He's looking for 100 wins in probably the most varied career in powerboat racing. And as you see, he never let Citgo out of his sight. He had himself fixed for that win. It was supposed to be a big day.
Supposed to be, and we'll explain that in a moment. These were races yesterday. As we send the big open boats out on the course for today's races, we are reviewing yesterday's run, and you can see it was Fountain right up alongside Citgo Superguard. Citgo Superguard in the lead. Reggie Fountain challenges, finally manages to take the lead, but watch what happens. He loses it again. Citgo Superguard just would not give up on the inside, although both boats appear to be running flawlessly. Then, all of a sudden, Citgo Superguard gets a tremendous burst, but even they had to question whether or not they were bursting or Reggie Fountain's boat was breaking. It was doing a little bit more than that. As Citgo Superguard went by and we got the cameras on the boat, you can see the navigator sticking his head up through the top, looking back over his shoulder. All he saw was smoke. Reggie Fountain's boat was on fire.
The Fountain boat was running perfectly. Tremendous horsepower from the motors, but they had no cooling water. One engine lost its water for cooling. A fire broke out. The temperatures rose to such an extreme that fire broke out. The boat became dangerously volatile. There was a fuel tank on board. Reggie finally had to abandon ship.
Probably no sadder sight to see than one of these boats on fire, and for Reggie Fountain, nothing but frustration.
One year I won 21 races in a row, and I just having a hard time getting over this 100. The water pickup blew apart just as we started running the boat, and you know, we had a quick quarter-mile lead and a mile-and-a-half run, and it cooked both motors. And when my son in there says, "Well, Dad, I think we're going real fast. This is great. What happened?" I said, "Well, I'm running the boat hard now. We just got rid of 500 pounds of ballast." And I looked in the rearview mirror, and his guy was a quarter of a mile back, and he said, "Uh-oh." He was kind of excited, you know, how fast we were going, and he said the water pressure's going. I looked down on my gauges, and it was gone. I said, "Well, I better stop." And when I stopped and looked back, smoke was coming out, and that was the end of the story.
The end of the story, well, maybe not, but the end of a chapter trying to reach 100 wins. Meanwhile, Citgo Superguard capitalized on that breakdown to take the win in a well-earned and well-fought charge from start to finish. Second place went to Team Baja, and Team Baja did an outstanding job. They are scratching and clawing their way towards first place. This team is getting better with each event.
The competition continues on the increase. There you see on the Powerboat Magazine results board, Citgo Superguard with a win. Fountain officially takes a third place. Now in the Citgo Superguard points, that boat leads at 412. Fountain now at 380 points.
It was a very interesting race, actually. It was we were having a real strong race with Dramamine, very fast as always, and they had a problem. And then we had a tussle with Reggie, and neck and neck with him. It was really tight, and then he had a problem. And we also were running a little low on one motor, and so it was lucky to finish. So it was good all round.
We continue now as the racers for today prepare to go out to this course, and we take a look back at yesterday's racing, and this was another good one.
The A race was equally dramatic. Here we had In Motion all the way from California. They set the pace, but unfortunately an early penalty, they missed a turn buoy, cost them a lap, and therefore the race for first was actually taking place between the second and third place boats. Here you see Pittman Photo Express on one side and Ale House on the other. These two people, thinking they were racing for second, were actually racing for the lead.
That's why you never give up, no matter where you are on the course. You don't know about attrition. You don't know about things like missing a buoy on the boat ahead of you. So you just stay in there and fight for it. In this particular case, Pittman thinks they're going for second place. In reality, they're going for the lead.
Well, second place or first place, these two boats put on a wonderful display here in the tight confines of Chesapeake Bay. And in the A class, this is the kind of racing that you see. It's a very evenly matched class. These two boats particularly have had some rivalry.
On the Powerboat Magazine results board, you can see Ale House was first, Pittman Photo Express second, and In Motion was third. Now, on the results board for Citgo Superguard points, the Udder boat broke in the first lap, but they're still leading at 384 points.
Well, I tell you what, it's welcome back to Maryland, Rich. We had a good run today and a good battle with some other good teams out there, but the Ale House Boatworks Scarab came through again for us, and we're glad to be back in Maryland.
And we had factory competition.
Yes, the factory class growing by leaps and bounds. These are stock Mercury 500 horsepower inboards in stock production boats. And this class is very popular because it gives the competitor a fixed price.
In the F2 two-engine class, the 288 Team Hustler takes its first win of the season. In the single-engine class, the F116 Chaos claims victory in the checkered flag for the factory ones. Congratulations to those teams. That concludes our look back. We'll get on with today's racing from Baltimore in just a moment. The APBA Baja Offshore Series, the Chesapeake Challenge in Baltimore, Maryland. Dick Crippen along with Rich Lurs as we look down at a course ready for racing. Rich?
One of the largest spectator fleets we've seen this year is in for a real treat today. Open class, the largest and fastest race boats in the world. The modified boats, they're no slouches either. Over 130 miles an hour in these catamarans. The Super V class, the highest horsepower twin-engine boats, they're also running 120 to 130 miles an hour. And finally, in the pro outboard classes, we have Hooters, Crimebusters, and Pennzoil, three of the triple-engine outboard boats, and some twin-engine outboard boats as well. There'll be a lot of racing going on this course today.
All those classes of boats on the course at one time. There you see the open boats heading out. The WHM Motorsports number 5, the number 11 nearest to you is Alcone Motorsports. We go on board with the Drambuie on Ice onboard camera. Alcone Motorsports looking over the shoulder of Matt Alcone as he looks ahead and around him to see what the competition is doing. From the Caterpillar Marine aerial camera, you can see how sweet it is now pulling up to make it a 3-boat field in front. The absence of Drambuie on Ice, don't know what to tell you. They're sitting in back of the field right now. But you know, one of the interesting things, as they take the green flag, they're going to have to be concerned because they are starting the other classes in separate waves, meaning they're starting behind these boats. Rich, the closing speed on these open boats is going to be something to contend with.
A big point of concern. And look here, Drambuie on Ice showing some of that speed right there. All of these boats are capable of speeds over 150 miles an hour. And there's rumor that one of them, the one right in front of you, Alcone Motorsports, can pull 160 if he wants to. They've got to be very cautious today. This is calm conditions. They can go as fast as they want to, but there are going to be a bunch of other boats out there. And as you said, these closing speeds could be downright dangerous. So we're going to see some very fancy driving around this race course today.
And remember, that wake right there that you just saw is developed off of this boat that you're looking forward on now. The WHM Motorsports has got those brand new Mercury engines. Here's your lead boat now, and you can see off to the left the other two boats challenging him, and that's how sweet it is. But look where Alcone Motorsports is. They've fallen back to fourth. Rich, this is pure power we're talking about here.
And tightly bunched power. You have two Oldsmobile-based engines. You have how sweet it is in WH Motorsports. And you have two Chevy-based engines in Drambuie. And this boat right here, Alcone. You see Matt Alcone squeezed by that large concrete bunker right there at the bridge. So he's having a little maneuverability problems. And leading right now, Carl Myers. He and Bobby Moore, they are the elder statesmen of the sport. They joke about how they are doing this in their twilight years. Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of twilight years left in that boat.
And those guys have had a lot of experience, and they're putting it to good use as you look again at your Drambuie on Ice onboard camera. You're looking ahead through the canopy of the WHM Motorsports. Watch out for that rooster tail, and there it is. And Rich, they've got to be careful. That lead boat, How Sweet It Is, got in front of them. WHM Motorsports has got to be careful.
Billy Moff took a calculated risk and lost. It seems that the Sunshine Boys up there, and How Sweet It Is, closed the door on him, and that's a big penalty to pay. You can hydraulic a pair of engines like that.
That little bobble cost the WHM Motorsports because Drambuie on Ice has come up on the outside and now has taken second place. Out in the lead and a good margin between him and second place for the moment. Number 39, How Sweet It Is. Bobby Moore on the throttles, Carl Myers on the steering wheel, and that boat is in command. But Drambuie on Ice has moved up from fourth place up to second now. So let's watch very closely as Forrest Barber tries to find the power.
Dick, what you're seeing right now is open boats running as fast as they can, but on the inside, Matt Alcone has been biding his time, but making a terrific move now, creeping up. He's just taken third place away from WHM Motorsports, and he's looking at Drambuie. So both Drambuie and Alcone are closing on How Sweet It Is in the lead. And on this race course, strategy is going to be everything.
Here's another start. Our next wave of boats has taken the start. These are the modifieds.
Modifieds and Super Vs, and one of those Super Vs, Ocean Spray, has crept up with the catamarans here in this ultra calm condition. Ocean Spray is the fastest V-bottom in the world, and he's proving it right now. But on the outside, you see Lightning Jacks. He's taking the lead in the modified class, roaring under the bridge. Bill Durham and John Woolley, they're running fast and loose and really letting this boat air out.
Now remember, the open boats have almost completed their first lap. That means that there is going to be some wake action as they come around that turn to the start-finish line, and there is still another wave of boats to start this race. Lightning Jacks is leading in the modified class, slows down a little bit on the turn because he wants to keep it extremely tight on the buoy line. As you know, the boat on the inside has an advantage, but he better not slow it down too much.
MOO, the Moo boat, utterly fantastic. Andy Trouth doing a terrific job in that turn, took advantage of Lightning Jack's slowdown there, and he just roared to the lead. Now, Lightning Jacks is pursuing this boat right here, utterly fantastic. It's decorated like a cow, but it runs like a bull, and this boat has been dominant in the modified class this year.
There you see first and second, and something's gone wrong with Lightning. Lightning Jacks has gone over, it appears.
Lightning Jacks in a straightaway barrel roll, just suddenly hooked, went out of control and went upside down, it appears. The modified race continues. You see Pepsi Prolong moved into second place, and way out in front is MOO, but what's happening back at Lightning Jacks?
Let's take a look at what did happen to Lightning Jacks. It looked like he might have caught a wave the wrong way. As he came up, he kind of lost it. The air got underneath the boat, and that's what we were talking about before. They're going at the speeds where air is a concern.
That is a rough one, Dick. A straightaway barrel roll. They were running along basically in a straight line, a couple of minor corrections there, and then suddenly she just hooked and rolled right over. That's an unusual one. I wonder if something went wrong underwater down in the drivetrain.
I'm sure a lot of the people are asking exactly what did happen to the boat. Meanwhile, Carl Myers has got a little figuring out to do too. Number 39 is leading going into the turn, but check inside the rooster tail. Alcone Motorsports has moved up inside Drambuie, taken over second place. You're over the shoulder of Matt Alcone. You can see How Sweet It Is to the right-hand side. He's trying to get him on the inside of the course.
Matt Alcone doing what WHM couldn't do, taking How Sweet It Is on the inside lane.
Checking our Powerboat magazine leaderboard at the moment. How Sweet It Is leading. Alcone Motorsports challenging. We're back in a moment. Welcome back to the Chesapeake Challenge, part of the APBA Baja Offshore Series. This is the How Sweet It Is boat from the Caterpillar Marine Power aerial camera, looking back to second place. And Alcone Motorsports, that is a challenge I don't think I'd like behind me.
This is a very interesting race right now, Dick. You've got what basically should be go fast, turn left, go fast, turn left. But the acceleration and How Sweet It Is out of the turns has kept them in the lead, whereas this boat on the long end of the course and in the turns has been the faster of the two. And Matt Alcone, because he has such long legs and so much top speed, close to 160 miles an hour, he's been closing down How Sweet It Is lap by lap. He's picking his point right now.
Matt Alcone out of Los Angeles, California. He owns an advertising agency out there. He has also got to be concerned with this boat. Forrest Barber out of Texas in Drambuie on Ice. As you can see, he is not letting him have any quarter at all. You look from the Drambuie on Ice onboard camera, and you can see off the back of that boat there's plenty of power being developed. He's got an extremely fast boat and a very cunning driver.
And Billy Mouth, who was challenging for the lead in lap number 1, only to run through a rooster tail, has now fallen back to 4th. In defense of this team, they put these brand new Mercury engines in there in the last 48 hours. They've had no test time with these motors at all. So they're fighting a real uphill battle today. They're developing brand new motors on the race course.
Lessons under fire, if you will. We have another start. The pro stocks have started on the course. Nicky Coutreau has taken the lead in the bright yellow Pennzoil boat. There he is, and look at those 3 outboard engines just powering on.
At over 115 miles an hour, this boat out of upstate New York is the boat to beat right now. You see the race for second is very tight between Hooters on the right of your screen and to the left, Crime Buster, 2 boats out of Florida, and right now they are doing all that they can to stay somewhere within striking distance of Coutreau.
There's the onboard camera from Crime Buster, supplied by Drambuie on Ice. A good shot as he goes down and tries to establish the lead, but you know he's looking over his right shoulder because he knew he had a boat on his right, and there it goes.
Talk about closing speed. WHM went by him like he was stopped. That's about a 35-mile-an-hour speed difference right there. Meanwhile, in the stock class, the twin outboard catamaran class, this boat, Team Kazachok, which I think Kazachok is Swahili for wide open throttle no matter what, is flying around the course in the lead.
In the Super Vs, we've got number 76, the Fountain Boat, having a little better run than the Fountain Boat did yesterday. And right now, they are concerned with the V81 Ocean Spray, which actually started off the start line in the lead, but now has fallen back to second place. This boat still holding on to the lead in open class. Carl Myers out of upstate New York in the number 39, How Sweet It Is, being challenged on the inside of the course by the Alcone Motorsports. And we can see that Alcone is running very fast, but it looks like now he's having to fight some of the slower traffic.
There's an awful lot of things for Matt Alcone to consider right now. Not only is he trying to catch How Sweet It Is, he's trying to avoid all of the slower boats, but on the outside of the course, picking his line, you see Matt Alcone is going closer and closer to How Sweet It Is. Matt Alcone is getting ready for one of those patented Matt Alcone moves where he flies by the opposition.
He's got plenty of speed. We'll see if he has enough on the far outside of the course. Meanwhile, the traffic on the inside has forced How Sweet It Is to go into a different groove also. Right now, all eyes are on the lead boat, How Sweet It Is. Look at that rooting section. We'll be back to Chesapeake Bay in just a moment. Baltimore, Maryland, the Chesapeake Challenge, the APBA Baja Offshore Series. There you're looking from our Caterpillar Marine Power aerial camera down on the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The boats are going under that bridge twice each lap. And right now we see the boats passing underneath again, and in the lead for the open class is the number 39, How Sweet It Is, Carl Myers out of upstate New York. He's got Bobby Moore on the throttles. These guys are showing some real veteran experience as the challenge behind them is none other than Alcone Motorsports. You can see Alcone off the back from the Drambuie on Ice onboard camera to the left of your screen. Matt Alcone trying to chip away at that lead. So far, not real successful. It seems like Carl is able to hold him off.
Yeah, well, Carl set his boat up today strictly for acceleration. I think he sacrificed a little top end in order to get that tremendous punch out of the turns. And Matt Alcone's having a little problem figuring this out. But he's going to find a place. He's looking for the area where his boat is running at a higher speed so he can make the move that he has to in order to get the lead. Matt Alcone is a patient guy, and he certainly has the equipment under him to do whatever it takes on this race course. We've seen this boat this year has just about anything it needs whenever it needs it. As you can see, he's beginning to close down the distance between the two.
We talk about Matt Alcone, and the throttleman in that boat is Jerry Gilbreth, another guy who's had tremendous veteran experience. He's been around this circuit for a long time. Forrest Barber in there with John Tomlinson, another great team. Not only a solid driver, but an extremely experienced throttleman. And there's a lot of communication going on in there because Forrest has really moved up into the open class this year. He's looking to learn.
Yes, the Drambuie boat is still in development after a fashion. It runs a little bit light in the bow, as you see here. They've had just a few minor handling problems, but at these speeds, that can hold you back a second or two a lap, and that's everything right now.
And again, they are concerned with the air underneath the boat in these open class boats, and they haven't been concerned in previous years. They've actually tried to trap the air and be able to control it. And look at the challenge for the lead as you look ahead of Drambuie on Ice. There you can see Matt Alcone as you look over his shoulder, closing in on How Sweet It Is.
Now we'll see. This straightaway should tell us what the real bottom line is. How much does Al Cohn have? You see, he's smoothly bringing the boat around. This boat of his handles so well, it goes exactly where he puts it. Again, here's the acceleration out of how sweet it is. Pulling out a larger margin and coming out of that turn into the straightaway. How sweet it is has been pulling a few boat lengths each lap, but Al Cohn's been closer at the end of each turn.
And don't forget, they have got to be concerned with other traffic on the course. They can't just go willy-nilly anywhere they want to go. They've got to watch out for the other boats. And speaking of those, the V81, Bruce Penhall and Dennis Segalis have taken the lead now, and it looks like they missed a buoy coming
sure
around,
did.
and they pulled onto the inside. So now the V76 Fountain has got the lead, and Ocean Spray has got to go back and pick up the buoy.
Talk about opening the door for the other guy. They basically have to stop, come around, pick up the buoy they almost missed, and now they've got about a 30 boat length lead to catch up to, whereas they had the lead going into the turn.
And here's the Nemshoff boat, which is dominant early on in the race series, and now they have changed engines just before they got into the water in this boat, and they're playing catch-up.
Well, this is not going to be a diesel day, and this Nemshoff boat is diesel powered. This boat is very competitive in almost all water conditions, but in the calm conditions here today, these supercharged gasoline engines and the other two Super V entries are just too much for the diesel today.
And when you get a boat that's over 40 feet in length, as that one is, it wants to go from wave to wave, and it needs long swelling type waves as opposed to this little tiny chop. This boat, however, no problem at all for Nicky Coutreau. He's had power on from the start line, and the yellow boat, Pennzoil, has been dominant.
Yeah, the Pennzoil catamaran is trimmed out a bit. You see him just kissing off the water right now. The drivers have to be very, very careful, Dick. They're going as fast as they can, and this is where the air you've been talking about can be very, very treacherous and can flip them over backwards if they don't watch out.
And here's a battle that has gone on literally since the start line. Crime Buster has been battling Hooters, the two Florida boats. They are neck and neck.
This is serious. You know these teams. Both boats want to catch Pennzoil, so they're not holding anything back. And it's amazing how close lap after lap these two boats are running, virtually neck and neck.
And how about Utterly Fantastic? This boat out of Kentucky, we told you the guys are in the dairy business, thus the Utterly boats, and they're doing a great job. They love to call it the Moo boat, M-O-O.
Andy Trout is developing as a real boat racer this year. He's dominant in the A-class and dominant in the modified boat. You wonder if he's going to step up to open at some point, maybe take all of his resources and put them into one effort.
Well, we've seen that happen with other teams. Now, aboard the M11, we have Joey Padovano out of Miami, Florida, and we want to welcome back a good friend from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Charlie Hames. Charlie is on the throttles in that boat. Again, he has had some good experience. Last year, he was teamed with Forrest Barber.
Charlie Hames, an emerging star in offshore racing, came out of outboards, getting used to the bigger inboard engines in the modified class. He'll be a force to reckon with.
Our Powerboat Magazine modified leaderboard shows Utterly Fantastic in the lead. More racing coming up. Stay tuned. On board with Matt Alcone and the Alcone Motorsports, the Chesapeake Challenge from Baltimore, Maryland. The Drambuie on ice onboard camera giving you a great shot out of the second place boat. As we continue with the APBA Baja Offshore Series, Matt Alcone is closing down on the leader.
Now there you see Matt Alcone crossing a rooster tail on purpose. He set up How Sweet It Is. How Sweet It Is thinks he's on the outside, but no, as he comes out of the turn, he's on the inside, using that handling in that Alcone boat to snatch the lead right there. And now it's his race. He's got the lead. Now he's got to make How Sweet It Is follow his drumbeat.
And we have been pointing out the entire race that How Sweet It Is has got great acceleration on a straightaway, and look at him now as he tries to close down. Looking at the Drambuie on ice onboard camera from the back end of Alcone Motorsports, How Sweet It Is coming on.
But How Sweet It Is has used up all of their acceleration now, and now Alcone beginning to get his legs. You can see How Sweet It Is caught him, but he's not getting by him, and that's the story right now. Alcone's got the lead now. At the other end of the course, that's where Alcone owns the course, and you'll see Alcone pull away, I can guarantee you.
You notice that the How Sweet It Is boat starts to get a little bit light on the front end. Now both boats are very, very light. Both are riding heavy on the back end, so they are really topping out on that speed.
They're using as much trim, that is, the angle of the propellers against the bottom of the boat is controlled hydraulically. They're raising the bow to catch as much air and get as much speed as they can right now. This is a classic drag race.
And it's a great shot through the canopy of Matt Alcone's boat, now looking off of the back end of it, trying to spot the How Sweet It Is boat, which is now sitting back in second place just on the other side of that rooster tail. He is still in a position that he might be able to challenge. You can see he's riding right on the edge of the wake from the lead boat.
And if you don't think they're racing, he's trying to minimize the length of the course, staying right on the wake. This boat, Forrest Barber, he really has his work cut out for him now, because the two boats in front of him, locked in a duel, are setting a torrid pace.
That's what happens when you get two speedsters out front and they really open it up. You can pace yourself to a certain point, but after that, you've just got to put it down, pedal to the metal, and make it happen. And right now, you can see the tremendous amount of power being developed off of these boats. As we said earlier, during some kilometer runs, the buoy on ice actually hit 154 plus miles per hour, and that's an average speed going two ways. These boats are capable of that kind of speed on this kind of water.
Meanwhile, the WHM team of Joe Impression and Bill Morph are still in fourth place, and they're running very strongly. They're hitting speeds of 145 to 148, and they're in fourth place.
Over the shoulder of Throttleman Joey Impression. Boy, Throttleman are known as the busiest men in boat racing, and he is busy. Now, we talked to the Throttleman aboard the lead boat, Alcone Motorsports, Jerry Gilbreth, about some of the things he's doing and thinking about.
About halfway down the straightaway, we're trying to pick our best line as far as diagnosing traffic, if there's some traffic inside or outside. But once I get to the turn, I'll start bringing my trim in on the drives, which will give Matt a little bit more response on the steering. As soon as he tells me he can feel the drives having the effect on the boat, because running down the straightaway, as you see as the boat runs, there's so much air under the boat. I'm really controlling by the trim the direction of the boat. But once we get to the turn, it's all Matt. So he tells me when he's got control of the boat. Once he gets control of the boat, then I throttle to however he's turning the boat. And if he overturns or whatever, I may back off, or I might give it some more throttle. I might give it some tab. If it's an into the wind situation, I'll move forward before we even get to the turn. So I'm pretty busy. I mean, it just depends, downwind or into the wind. But generally, about halfway through the apex of the turn, then I reverse everything. I start bringing the drives up, start bringing the tabs up, start moving the weight to the back of the boat. It all has to be done really quick. I have 5 fingers on my left hand, and I could use 6.
Well, right now, the competition must think Jerry Gilbreth has 4 arms, because he's pulled out such a lead in the Alcone boat with Matt Alcone on the wheel. Whatever he's doing it right. And as you can see, they've taken the lead. And the leaderboard shows you that Alcone Motorsports is our leader. We'll be right back. For years, the system of choice in offshore racing has been the F-16 canopy for safety, but Forrest Barber this year has changed the state of the art. The primary reason was strength, but Forrest had a lot of other reasons why he chose this configuration.
We chose a single canopy concept because of several things. I think that for any time you're in an offshore boat, it's a team operation. Johnny and I have to be able to communicate with each other, and we can do that with either visual or audio cues by having our headsets on. I think it's a safer system in that we're more centralized in the middle of the boat, a little further away from harm's way, a little closer to the roll center of the boat, where it feels more comfortable to us while we're underway. It enabled us to build a larger canopy structure that's not dependent simply upon a plexiglass bubble, but we have a large composite fiberglass shell over us.
The best feature about this new system is that it's air-conditioned.
And that's something to think about for sure when it's a warm day, and it's plenty warm here in the Baltimore area in the mid-80s. There you see Drambuie on ice as she looks in full race form. That center canopy performing very effectively for them. Be interesting to see if there's any difference in the aerodynamics on that boat, because it only has one canopy for the air to go over. Right now it is operating beautifully, but still playing catch-up.
Well, cool as they are in there right now, they're running as hot as they possibly can, because they've got a tall order, and there's the order. Alcone Motorsports out in the lead, and when this guy gets the lead with that guy on the throttles, they're almost impossible to catch.
Right now, how sweet it is finding that out, because that's the boat that Alcone Motorsports took the lead from, and now Carl Myers is trying to catch him as they go through the turn. They're staying very tight on it. They're not pushing the boat exceptionally hard through the turn, but they're coming out with very good acceleration. And this is a trademark of this boat, or it has been so far this year. You can see that Matt Alcone is not really having to fight hard on that wheel. That boat really is operating.
They've brought the state-of-the-art in open class up to its highest level. Jerry Gilbreth, for all he took us through a turn and what he does in the boat, his biggest role is outside the boat, between races. As team manager, he has put together the most potent system in offshore racing today. How sweet it is, not so bad either. You've got Bobby Moore in there, another wonderful team manager, and they've got a lot of horsepower. These Oldsmobile engines are a great equalizer for them right now. They've got their hands full. Look at Drambuie. They've crept right up on them here in this turn.
Drambuie on ice having to go through the rooster tail there, and I'm sure he didn't want to do that. But Carl Miles was very tight on the inside of the course, and who can blame him for that? He wants the shorter course to run if he can get it. Interesting, too, that Carl Myers had to change engines this year.
Yes, he had turbocharged engines last year, so he had a lot of top speed and not that much acceleration. Now he's got the acceleration. Meanwhile, WHM Motorsports, again, this is the maiden voyage for the new Mercury engines. It's a shakedown cruise. They don't quite have the punch today for this course. This is an unusual course, and I don't think anybody was really ready for it except for Alcone.
Well, certainly the water conditions were in question, because this is the kind of course that under the right weather conditions could rough up, and you could have some pretty good sized waves out there.
Now, with the seawalls we have on both sides of the course, you can get quite a mixed chop in here, but right now it's relatively flat and utterly fantastic. He picked the right props and the right setup as well, and he's doing in the modified class what Alcone's doing in open. He's pulled a significant lead out now, and he's put his drives down. He's taking it conservatively now. He's got a big margin over second place.
Good runs by these boats, these high-powered offshore boats. They're running in the inner harbor of Baltimore, Maryland, a place famed for its entertainment and such. Here's one of the boats out of California, now running up in second place, out of bounds. This was a boat that kind of fought some hard races last year and has been doing a lot better this year.
Yes, absolutely, and this boat is totally airborne. This is a boat that has a huge tunnel underneath it, and we've seen these boats, they get so flighty going into turns, they tend to slide out 2 or 3 lanes as they go around.
The Flying Tiger boat, a rather unique design with a high pitch as it goes around, and it is doing a good job riding very smoothly on the course, and it has a very unique look.
Yes, it does. It's a George Linder design. It's been in development for the last 3 or 4 years, actually. Sonny Hawkins is both developing a new hull and developing his own engines, so he's got the tallest order out there today. He and his wife, Tina Blizniak, make a great crew, however.
You're looking at the leader in Super V. You'll remember Ocean Spray missed a buoy, but the number 76 Fountain broke. They have now taken over the lead in Ocean Spray. Bruce Penhall and Dennis Sigalis looking for back-to-back wins after a season last year where they had no wins at all.
Whoa, look at WHM fly by Ocean Spray. Ocean Spray is the world's fastest V-bottom. You just saw him eaten up by an open boat. The difference in speed has to be 25 or 30 miles an hour.
And not only that, as we go on board the WHM Motorsport, that is the 4th place boat in the open. So you can imagine the speed the leaders are going. And the leader at the moment on our Powerboat Magazine leaderboard is Alcone Motorsports. Winding down with the Chesapeake Challenge in Baltimore, Maryland, the APBA Baja Offshore Series. Dick Crippen along with Rich Lures. Looking at the course again from our Caterpillar Marine Power aerial camera. We're looking at the leader in the S-Class.
Joe Black and Rich Ginsburg made a last turn move on Club Kazachok, and they are the winners in Superstock.
Great job at driving, great strategy on the course. Citrashine takes a first place, and we look at our Powerboat Magazine results page for Superstock. You can see Club Kazachok finished in second, and on the Citgo Superguard points, only 36 points separate the leaders.
Always checkered flags feels good. You know, worked hard. Tim Steiner was and his partner were in front of us for a long time, and on that last lap, we got up underneath them and, you know, went for the checkered. Everything worked out fine.
Rich, what was the difference?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. Today, boat ran good. We made some changes to it at the shop last week and got it all dialed in. We got some new motors on there, and flat water always helps us out over Timmy, you know. So it's going to be a tough race to the end, but gives us a good, comfortable lead going into West Palm.
Back out on the course, this is the Pennzoil boat. Nicky Coutreau out of Lake George, New York, takes another win. He has had that boat operating flawlessly in this race. P70 riding home to the checkered flag.
Nicky Coutreau's secret weapon, the driver, Ray Yakuri, past national champion. Right now, the race for second is still going on between Hooters to the inside and on the outside, Crime Buster. Right down the final lap into the final turn. who's going to take the lead. It looks like Crime Buster just right here in the final turn, just inching out Hooters for second place.
Going to our official results on the Powerboat Magazine results board, Pennzoil takes the lead, Crime Buster second, Hooters is third. And there's your look at the Citgo Super Guard points with Hooters in the lead.
Well, we tried real hard today in the Pennzoil Catamaran. It's good to get back in the boat again, and Nicky, being a real great throttle man, got us to first place right away, and we stayed out in front and went strong the whole race. And I was just kind of like hanging along for the ride. But as he says, we both had the same teacher.
And the teacher they're talking about, racing legend Tom Akuri, many-time national champion in most of the classes in this sport.
Here's another checkered flag going out for the team aboard Ocean Spray. They had an error on the course, missing a buoy, but as luck would have it, the 76, which was leading at the time, broke. They took over the lead, and on our Powerboat Magazine results board, Ocean Spray takes the win, followed by Nemshoff. Fountain gets third. On the Citgo Super Guard points board, Nemshoff is the leader, 381 to 362 for Ocean Spray.
Our Lily in the other fountain was all over us, and then I hooked it. I hooked it right next to one of the pillows and had to make a turn around it, and it was for 3 laps. Dennis was hammered down, and I was showing somewhere right around 133, 134 catching him. So we had to put the old metal to the pedal of the metal to catch him back up.
Well, they did a good job of that, and right now, here's a guy that's done a great job in the open class boats, Matt Alcone, who really engineered a great race. Good strategy, and he had the power and tools to back it up.
And he has a perfect angle of attack right now. That boat could not be trimmed any better.
Alcone Motorsports out of Los Angeles, California, took the lead and has held onto it. How sweet it is, riding in second place, has a battle going with Drambuie on ice. You can see Drambuie on ice on the outside of the course closest to us. There's How Sweet It Is in second place. Actually, you'd have to say with what they've been working for as far as the motors have been concerned, the new engines this year, they've got to be happy with the second place finish in this race.
That's interesting because you see Drambuie has put himself exactly where Alcone was, lining up How Sweet It Is. The difference is How Sweet It Is acceleration is just too much for Drambuie to make up for on the other end of the course. Drambuie also has a lot of top speed, but not as much as Alcone. He's not handling quite as well, and this acceleration, as I said, out of How Sweet It is an awful lot to overcome on this short course.
And the one thing playing against him right now is time, because there is no more time. They're coming into the final turns, and this boat has got second place just about virtually locked up, barring anything going wrong with those engines. Alcone Motorsports takes the win. The checkered flag flies. Matt Alcone, Jerry Gilbreth, and great team, a winning team certainly here in the Inner Harbor of Baltimore today, and they've got to be very happy with the tremendous performance of that boat. Meanwhile, the battle for second still going on. The lead boat in second place is Carl Myers, trying to cut tight on those pins. You can see off the right of your screen Drambuie on ice trying to catch him, but as we said earlier, time is playing against him. Second place goes to How Sweet It Is. From upstate New York, Carl Myers. Bobby Moore on the throttles, a great team, second place.
And coming in third, Drambuie on ice, almost but not quite. They did everything they could to catch How Sweet It Is. Didn't have quite enough when they needed it.
They'll go back to the drawing boards and they'll look at it again, see if they can find a little bit more speed for that boat. Meanwhile, we know for sure this boat will be going back to the drawing boards. However, we emphasize again, it was the engines. They had brand new engines in there that had never been in the boat before, didn't get a chance to test on them. Actually, I have to say the fact that they made the race, made the finish line, they were respectable in their showing. We saw the speed they were going when they passed Ocean Spray.
When you put Joey Impression together with Mercury Marine's tremendous engineering talent, you know they're not going to stay in the back of the pack for long. This boat will do a lot better by the end of the season.
Well, fourth place goes to the WHM Motorsports, and we congratulate them, Bill Mouth and Joey Impressia. They did a good job, and as again, they really were testing out those motors to find out how they would go.
And you know what? They didn't go slowly. They went fast, just not fast enough. And remember, WHM Motorsport was a handful down in Texas. They led the race almost to the finish, only to be nipped by Drambuie on ice. So this team, we know, has the capability and potential to win. And with what they're doing, trying to put a brand new engine package together with Fountain on the other side in his boat, this is an ongoing project.
Now, the boat that equaled Alcone in a different class had to be this boat. Utterly fantastic, the Moo boat. just dominated the modified field from the start line. They did a great job of driving. This team has really got their act together.
They really have. And when you think that they're campaigning 2 boats, one in A class and one in modified class, what an outstanding job they're doing this season. As I said, look for them in open in the future. I think that's where they're going.
That may well be, that's for sure. They've just about milked everything they can out of the modified. Excuse me, I apologize for that line. Winner in the modified, the Utterly Fantastic. And there's your Powerboat Magazine results board. Let's go now to the Citgo Super Guard points and see how they're stacking up. And there you can see the dominance of Utterly Fantastic, the 00. We'll wrap it up from Baltimore right after this timeout. The American Powerboat Association's Baja Offshore Series was brought to you by Baja Marine, the #1 manufacturer of high-performance boats in the world. Baja, speed changes you. And by Citgo Super Guard Motor Oil, the official motor oil of the American Powerboat Association. Citgo when it counts. Well, we've seen some great racing here in the Inner Harbor. There you can see the Powerboat Magazine results for the open class. Alcone Motorsports, the big winner out there today. Matt Alcone, the driver.
It was really tough. We were battling as hard as we could on Carl's back corner for 2.5 laps, and finally we saw a real sliver of an opening on a turn, and we went for it, and then after that we got some clear water and we never looked back. But it was really tough. We had to run really fast.
We noticed, as a matter of fact, some of those straightaways, you were just in another world.
Yeah, boat's running great. Boat's running great. I feel real comfortable on the boat. Jerry feels real comfortable on the boat. We have great communication. First lap, some people wandered off to the right, and we had enough confidence to stay the course, and it picked up a couple of seconds, put us back in the race.
Taking a look at the Citgo Super Guard points for the open boats. Whew, what a race it is, with Drambuie on ice leading by 3 points.
We watched you square off the corners dramatically, and as a matter of fact, you were making up quite a bit of distance as a result of those corners.
We were trying to, but we found today that we really could not accelerate with a couple of boats that were out there. So again, we were trying to shorten the course up, and we could pull up on them then, but we just couldn't accelerate with them.
From a top-end standpoint, it looked like everybody was about the same.
I think so. Everybody's probably running at least 150 miles an hour out there, and Johnny was running the boat as hard as he possibly could, and we were working the boat over as hard as we could, but it's just one of those days. That's racing, I guess.
Forrest Barber looked like a man who's about to do a lot of homework between now and West Palm Beach. Good luck to you, Forrest.
Thank you very much, and we're going to start working tonight.
Well, as Rich said, the next stop is West Palm Beach, Florida for the big offshore boats, the Baja APBA Offshore Series. We want to say thanks to Aerial Photography, Freeze Frame Video. Great job with the onboard cameras and such. And also, we'd like to say special thanks to Tri-County Incorporated, reliable two-way radios, customized communications, qualified technical assistance. If you have radio needs, talk to Tri-County. That's it from Baltimore, Maryland. Dick Crippen for Rich Lures. We'll see you next time. Till then, have a good one.